Here we go. All right, the January meeting of the Quarry Commission is officially kicked off here at 6:01. And let's see who is here. Mr. Diaz?
Present.
Okay, Mr. Shands?
Here.
Mr. Beersner?
Here.
Mr. Mudge?
Here.
And Mr. Holly.
Here.
Okay. And I think we'll start the meeting with a pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Citizen comment period. Are there any citizens needing to step up and address the commission?
No one signed up for this citizen comment period.
All right, good. All right, and let's take a, if you've taken a look at the minutes of the last meeting, does anybody have any exceptions to the way, the minutes, the way they're presented?
I move we accept the minutes as written.
All right, there's a motion to accept the minutes. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, Dave? All right, thank you. All right, and the business items will discuss the quarry blasting analysis. We can get that analysis report, please.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I am David Launer with Vibratech. We are at 4818 East Benwhite Boulevard, Suite 202 in Austin, Texas. Today is Monday, January 10th. My name is David Launer. We are going to discuss the blasting effects from the months of November and December of the year 2021. There were 8 blasts conducted in the Hanson Surtex Quarry in November, and there were 8 blasts conducted in December of 2021. The highest overall peak particle velocity in November was a 0.235 inches per second, recorded at the Warden property line seismograph on 11/12/21. The blast location was Aggie Pit East. And the highest air over pressure in November was 116 decibels, also at the Warden property line seismograph on 11/15/21, and that blast location was Aggie Pit North B. Of the 8 blasts in December, the highest peak particle velocity was a 0.265 inches per second, recorded at the Warden property line on 12/16/21, and the location of the blast was the Aggie Pit Northwest A. And the highest air over pressure in December was 117 decibels at the Warden property line, recorded on 12/16 at the Aggie Pit Northwest A location. Looking at the map on your screen, this is a summary of the locations of all the blasting done for the last 2 months of 2021. You can see they're mostly still concentrated in the same area where we have the west wall, Pond 4, and Aggie Pit area. You can see a few down here in the middle, which is this is the base pit area, and they're on the north side of the base pit because this is all of the base pit down here. And then there was one blast down here on the south wall on 12/28.
Sir?
Yes, sir.
I noticed that we have 2 ponds now in the quarry. Did you notice that?
2 what?
Ponds.
2 ponds. I'm sure the blast guys can go over this a little bit more. I know this is what they, I believe, call Pond 4. Is that correct, Pat? No? That's Pond 3. Okay. Are these still active here? Or these?
Pond 1 on the right, Pond 2 in the middle, those are inactive.
Okay.
Pond 3 is currently in use, and you keep Pond 4, Pond 4 pit,
Okay.
because we're blasting that out, that'll eventually
Okay, this will be the future Pond 4 location? Okay. And this map just also, again, shows the seismographs that are recorded, the Shoals location, which is a floating rover, and then the Holly, the Warden Res, City Prop Line, and then the Michaels seismograph over here. So those are the permanent seismographs. This is a USBM chart summarizing the blasting for the 2 months of those 6 seismographs that we just discussed, and you can see everything is still underneath this Z curve that the U.S. Bureau of Mines puts together to say you need to stay underneath that limit. And this is the air over pressure for the 2 months, starting from November 2nd all the way through the last blast near Christmas, with 133 dB being the absolute limit, and these are coming in all under 120 with each of the seismograph locations there. There were 3 citizen concerns during the period reported from November to December of 2021. The first one came in on 12/14 from Christina Strawn down here on the Regency Run location, and her concern was a blast related up here in the Pond 4 Level 1 area. And there were 2 concerns that came in on December 16th from Ms. Janet Hayslip and Belinda McAllister, and their concern was involving this one location here on 12/16 at the Aggie Pit Northwest A. So now we'll go into details about each of those. So here's a review again. Mrs. Strawn's concern was that on 12/14 that there was a large, long-lasting blast. They have been getting larger over the past month. She did request Quarry contact, and I did reach out to them, and I met them in person, her and her husband, and we actually put a portable seismograph in their yard for one of the blasts that had occurred after this blast, just to get a measurement.
I don't understand why you have a no for the ordinance compliance.
Well, that's a mistake on my part, sir. Good catch. That should say yes in the green column. This right here was a yes, my bad. They all were under Order 34 compliance. Going into the details of Strawn's concerns, again, this is the location of their house. The nearest compliance seismograph was the Holly seismograph, and this is the location of the blasting that day. Not sure if there were some north winds that were coming south that may have affected what they felt there, but the readings at the Holly seismograph were a 0.043 inches per second at 13.9 hertz, and the decibel was 103 dB, and this seismograph was 4,301 feet from the blast itself. The day that I recorded the portable seismograph was on a 12/22. There was a south pit shot, and the readings of the portable was a 0.035 inches per second at 19.2 hertz with a 106 dB. But this is the nearest seismograph from the day she had her concerns. And they've only been living in Regency Run for about a year. We've actually monitored at that house previously when another residence lived there. Mrs. Hayslip had concerns on a shot on the 16th of December. The location of the blast was the Aggie Pit Northwest A, and she indicated it was loud rumble and shaking. She did not request contact, so I did not reach out to her in this case, but I have talked to her before. This is the location of her house, and the nearest compliance seismograph between her and the blast would be the Michaels seismograph, and here's the location of the blast that day. And the readings at that Michaels seismograph was a 0.113 inches per second at 9.3 hertz with the 106 decibels. And the seismograph itself was 2,800 feet away from the blast. And this is the reading of that. So again, that reading says 0.113 inches per second at 9.3 hertz at 106 decibels.
Hayslips, if you can go back to the map, Hayslips on the other side of Batcave Road,
Yes.
that's about as far as I think we've ever had, since I've been here, had somebody complain. That's, wow, okay.
And we did have this Park Lane Park right here. We did have a seismograph up there for a while. They were recording readings in this area, and it never triggered.
Okay.
The last concern was from Ms. Valanda McAllister at 212604 Forest Water Circle. Another blast on 1216 and from the Aggie Pit Northwest A. Her comment was that this shook upstairs and down and inside the cabinets. When will this level of blast cease? And I reached out to the Quarry, and it says that they're going to be blasting in that location for a couple more years, so it won't be ending soon. But the readings that are nearest compliance seismograph are still low. Again, here's McAllister's residence off of Schoenthal Road. And here's the nearest Michael seismograph. Again, the same reading that was recorded during the Hayslip measurement, which is that this Michael seismograph was a 0.113 inches per second at 9.3 hertz with 106 decibels. And there's the event report for that one there. So the hertz were a little low, being 9.3, so that may have given them a little bit more of an effect. I also don't know if there was cloud cover that day or not.
I noticed that you included in the packet the Thomas impact report from October. Was that supposed to be in there, or?
Apparently, he had a concern from October that he submitted in November.
Okay.
But I was only focusing on the months of November and December.
Okay.
But yeah, Kat did forward that over to us.
Both the Thomases in past months have been pretty sensitive to the effects on their homes. They live next door to each other.
Mhm.
All right, he didn't request a visit or contact, but it's clear he's not pleased, with, so, yes, Pat.
Dave, fill them in. How many times you reach out to the Thomases? They want us in their house to witness the blast. We're willing to do it. You called 50 times?
Yeah,
How much would you do if they don't want to call us back?
Okay.
yeah, we do keep trying to reach out to them. They're not returning my
Okay,
calls.
well, that's good for us to know, though.
Yes,
Thank you.
yeah, I'll start documenting when I leave messages, but we've reached out to them, and they don't want a seismograph on their property, and we did put that Park Lane Park one there to cover that area, but we're still trying to reach out to them.
Okay.
And that's all I have at this time. Any questions?
It appears in November, December, we had one or two more blasts that were above the .2 level, certainly within below what would cause damage. Do you know if the blasters are doing anything differently that is giving us those slightly higher numbers? Or is it the same old, and it's just the way it is?
They can answer the specifics on that. I don't know if anything has changed. No, but you're right. There were 2.235s recorded in each of those months at the Warden property line. Just maybe the location at Aggie Pit is so close to it.
We had mentioned at our last meeting that we had been pleased that the numbers had been relatively low for several months, and not going much over 0.15, and this is a kind of a shift back to maybe over a year and a half ago, where we would be getting, near 2 and even above 0.2. So that's, I agree with Wayne. We're hoping that it doesn't kind of tend to go back to the older patterns we'd had.
I know the blaster can speak more on this, but I do know the winter months, the winds have changed. You got the north winds, and we've had a lot of cloud cover the last month or two. So just depending on the conditions of that day, plus maybe with all the rain too, the ground could be saturated.
Well, that would be for the overpressure, right? Not
Yes.
for the underground PPV, yeah, okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the location and placement of the monitors, we've made the shift from last time to the Schultz residence. And you did that probably when in October?
Yes, we requested full 2 months at the Shoals residence, and we've now had that.
Okay.
He's been quiet and hasn't said anything, but I'm sure at some point he he may want that out of his yard. I don't know if anyone's put any other requests to have the monitor right now, but he initially agreed just to have it in for 2 months, and that's where it's
All right.
been for 2 months.
Okay, one here have any input on the placement of the monitors at all? Do we want to keep it at the Schultz residence for another month or so until he wearies of it and asks to be removed, or, because there's no other, anyone in the backlog, you know, who's applying for it. So until we hear from him, perhaps, we'll keep it there.
Yeah, leave it there. I'd say leave it there.
Okay.
If you run out of places, you can always put one in my backyard too.
That's right, you mentioned that actually,
Yeah,
so. But we have not really got any large readings or really any triggers at all at the Schultz residence, so
All
I
right.
think he's
Where's
He's on Garden Ridge Drive, down that way a little bit, near Kay Bauer's house.
Okay. And can we get some input on the anything applicable to the Quarry Commission discussed at the city council? Nothing?
No, sir.
Okay. We are just rolling right along here, aren't we? All right.
I have a question of the quarry. This year has been pretty wet. This is out to the quarry people, you know, members. It's been pretty wet, it's been pretty good, so I noticed that there's a lot more water there. Has that impacted, or has that helped the city with the water bill, or your water bill, if you will? So have things gotten better? You know, like your water costs for keeping dust down, things of that thing?
Yeah, not so much for the water costs. It does help mitigate with dust. It also, the wetness impacts separating the material, so it can cause some issues with production. But from a blasting standpoint, moisture in the ground helps the energy to transmit quicker or more easily, which will keep your frequencies higher. So
Okay.
it'll be less perception. So in a blasting standpoint, water actually helps.
One other question, unfortunately, it has to do with this month. I think it was earlier this week even, or let's see, today's Monday, last week, there was a lot of, I don't know, hammering or something like that going on. Do you have any comment about that? I mean, it may not have been your property, but it seemed like it was coming from that side of, you know, from the quarry, from my house at least. It seemed like it was coming from there with some sort of repairs or anything like that going on?
Nothing out of the ordinary, what we normally do. I do know across the street, the block plant has been spreading out some block and moving their yard out, but I don't recall any additional hammering or any type of banging noises.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, education and training, it says we're going to review quarry terminology. Is that, the last, as I remember that, it was, you were preparing a listing, and we're going to get it blessed by the Hanson folks and your folks, and is that all set?
It has been approved by everyone here in this room. However, Hanson Corporate has yet to sign off on it.
Okay.
I don't have their legal blessing to present any of that.
Okay, so that'll be on hold until,
And until we can get that approval.
okay? All right. All right, any other education or training items that we want to take a look at for any future sessions? All right, if not, we'll ask once more, just finally, for any citizen comments in this period here? No one? All right. According to,
Announce the time of the next meeting.
I'm sorry?
I think you skipped over announcing the date, time
Oh.
of the next meeting.
D.
Okay, yeah, the proposed date, time, and location for the next meeting is suggested for March 14th, 2022. again, our normative Monday.
Is there anything that we can do to give better information to the city council about the progress the quarry's making as far as maintaining a peaceful relationship, if you will? You know, a graphic or anything like that during a city council meeting or something, because it's, you know, we get out there and we sort of, well, nothing's happened this month or last month, but they have no idea of the number of blasts or anything like that. Is there any other way that we can possibly present information to them? That could be a subject if you like.
Well, the grapevine, I'm assuming the city council members will read the grapevine, which, you know, summarizes at least the previous 2 months. But if you're talking about describing a trend, you know, over, as we've talked about over the last year or so, I don't think that, I have not put forth a summary of that.
Okay.
If you think one ought to be proposed, I mean, we can do that.
Something to discuss, maybe.
Okay,
Okay.
all right. All right. Now, according to the agenda, there's an executive session that we'll indulge in, I can't see the clock. It's, I have 6:20.
6:22.
Yeah, 6:22, okay. We can take a recess for, and go back for an executive session, or actually, you want to have that session in here, Nancy? Okay. So,
We might accept.
we've got our,
We can excuse them if they're
Right.
not.
yes,
need to be part of it.
the Hanson folks and the other blasting experts, if you will, you can step outside, and we're going to go into an executive session. I don't know if you, I don't think you need to stay, you know, if you prefer to just leave. So we appreciate your input. And once again, signing this document here. All right. We will reopen the regular session. Good idea. There it
It's
is.
on.
Okay, we've concluded the executive session and are reopening the regular session of the Quarry Commission. And is there any other issue that people need to discuss here? If not, is there
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Mr. Holly moves. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, Dave? All right, at 7:31, we've adjourned the meeting. Okay, is that it?